want to thank Anthony personally for having given us the privilege of having you guys here. I've enjoyed it, and I know that sometimes, even on Dr. Phil, we only see the surface of what the problem is, but what I got to enjoy this weekend is actually seeing your hearts, and I think your hearts go much deeper than the muscles, okay, and the heart's much bigger than the muscles will ever be.
The eulogy got to me.
Yeah, the eulogy. Yeah.
That was the best part for me, too.
Okay, so talk a little bit about that then. What really got to your heart?
Just realizing the reality of death and what you're leaving behind really hit home.
How do you see Michael different today than you did even a month ago? Or before you got here?
She probably dislikes me more.
No, different is that I think he realizes things that he didn't want to realize about himself that have come to the surface.
What was the biggest eye-opener here?
Like I said, the eulogy was the part that hit the home the most for me. Just the fact that it wasn't the fact that, I mean, I think about that a lot. You know, the image that we put on from the things we hide as a child, you know, it made you realize, hey, you know what, a lot of these things that I want people to say about me, am I really doing them every day? No, a lot of days I'm not. And it makes you want to be like that, so when you do actually pass, that's what people want to say about you versus what you actually wrote.
Right.
And that, you know, I mean, I've been thinking about all these things as we've gone over the last 4 days. It gave me a chance to look at myself as a little boy and see, like, what I was then versus what I've become now. And, you know, the shame, like, of what happened to me as a child on my face versus how that's affected me later in my life. And I just...
You hated that word, shame.
It's an ugly word. I still dislike it.
But just for you to admit that, just for you to, like...
Yeah. Wasn't that huge? And it was like, even then, when you admitted, look, the shame is there. It's there because of circumstances. It's there because of my environment, how I grew up, because of things I didn't have control of. And now I spend my life making sure I'm never shamed again. You know, and I'm looked up to.
Holes that I have in my personality that stem from when I was a child, I make mistakes to fill those voids sometimes, like the affair I had.
Yeah.
You know, that was me trying to fill a void of emptiness that I was having at that time. You know, just, you know, to feel needed. You know, that feeling of acceptance and performance. You know, that I can still do that, and you know, that was definitely a mistake I made, but it was nourishing.
This is why I think the last process for you meant so much. You saw that little boy that got beaten down, and you just about made it, and then you didn't have that mentor. And I think
that's what he thinks with everything. He thinks everything in life beats him down, and we're just always this close to getting what we need and what we want, like our house.
Like my goal, I've always sometimes I seem to be like a step short. I reach out for it, and I catch it by a couple of hairs, and I just miss it. Yeah.
And part of that, I believe, is because your heart needs to catch up.
Well, I've always felt like, since the time I was a child, that it was me against the world.
Yes.
I was fighting back against the world that was trying to hold me down. Right. And I've got that from a fighter that's so strong and everything on the inside. He still needs people around him sometimes to nurture him a little bit. If he doesn't get that, eventually he just breaks down.
And I think from this weekend, when you saw the little boy, you saw where that came from. And I know you guys are going to succeed. I know there's still work to be done. I know there's a lot of small stuff that still needs to be worked on. But you know what? We're going to take you from this point and keep going with you, because there's 3 precious... I got to see, of course, the video of the kids. And when I see that, it's like, that's my passion. My passion is that they will, at your funeral, say, Dad, that's my dad. That was my dad, right? And praise you. And that's the part that my prayer for both of you is, as you go home, that you'll bond. Because you know what? The best gift, I'm going to tell you this straight up, the best gift you can give your children is to show them how much you love their mom.
Know that. They're going to start off the exact same way I did.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I can't do things like that. And the other thing is, on an outside level, with, like you're saying, influencing kids and being a mentor, yeah, a bodybuilder, he's a big muscular bodybuilder, you know, wrestler that came from nothing, you know. It's pretty cool to look at, you know, as far as like a role model. But how much more of a role model is he when you see that big muscular bodybuilder that came from nothing and look what he's accomplished? And also at the same time, he's a good family man. Exactly. And he has his ducks in a row, and he has,
your heart poison. It's going to affect everything, right? When you're doing wrong and you know you're doing wrong on every level, spiritual, physical, mental, emotionally, you're doing wrong and you admit it, and you have a conscience, because you do, right? Then as much as you
very much so.
Well, yeah, and so when you have that and you're doing, it's eating you up. It's going to age you.
I always thought that conscience was a problem, but it's not.
No.
Because I'm one of those people, when I'm doing wrong, I feel extreme guilt. And that's from God, you know. That's Him trying to tell me, you know, do the right things.
Exactly.
You know,
even through the whole thing, every once in a while, he'd be like, this happened, and must have been God telling me I'm doing something wrong. You know, throughout the whole
like
thing.
when I was with this other woman, you know, things would happen to me, you know, and I was like, I don't understand why that happened to me.
When you were looking for an apartment with her.
Oh, we were looking for an apartment together, and I had been to the attorney for a divorce, and every apartment I went to look at, we would be getting ready to sign the lease on it, and something would happen.
Yeah. Wow.
It was extremely odd, you know, and I said, that's got to be God's work telling me what.
Got it all back. You're not the country song. You know what the country song is? Country song is you lose everything. You know what the opposite of country song is? You get your dog back, you get your wife back, you get your truck. Yeah, you get your truck back.
Somebody breaks into your
that's
trailer.
a country song backwards, right? You got it all back, Michael. That's
funny part was I grew up in a mobile home too, you know. So I know
there you go. So you got it all
mobile
back.
home to the Ritz. And this was a very good thing for us, because she had asked me multiple times if I wanted to go to counseling, and you know, we went to a counselor one time in New York, and you know, at the time I was still seeing my girlfriend, and you know, we went to her, and she looked at me and she said, I mean, she simply would not counsel us. She said, you're still living with your girlfriend. How am I going to counsel your marriage? And she just basically kicked us out. If it wasn't for the Dr. Phil show sending us here, I couldn't afford this for 4 days. It's just not in the budget.
Yeah.
So
and
what
4
recourse
days
do we
trying
have?
to do this in counseling, that is why Dr. Phil chooses this for couples in trouble at that state, is because 4 days and try to put all those hours into counseling, it takes forever.
Right.
And you guys need breakthroughs. But now to keep up, you know, and have a coach and us keeping you accountable. How's it going, you guys over there, right? And just having that continued help. You guys, thank you so much.